Yes, we lived in this house till I was, I believe, about 4 years old, 5 years old, and then we moved to the house that is now over on Payap College. And in that house is, I believe, when I began to attend first grade. I attended first grade in the building that has still got classrooms here, just across the yard from this headquarters building. And at the time, the when I look at it from this building, the left-hand side now has 3 classrooms. It was rebuilt some years ago. It just had 2 bigger classrooms, I believe, originally. And my mother taught me first grade. She was my first grade teacher. I learned both printing and cursive and reading and writing, which I already knew some as a small child. I had kindergarten in the building that is still the preschool building over here, just outside this building. And it seems to be the same building pretty much, perhaps renovated a little bit. And my mother taught me first grade, and then I had the privilege of having Miss Amala Rosewood for second and third grade both. And one amazing thing about having her as a teacher was this was not the kind of modern school in which you go from one class to another. We had Miss Wood all day long. And our classes, I believe, were maybe 8 or 9 or 10 kids at the most. So we had a great deal of personal attention from this amazing woman. I believe that she really taught us the excitement of learning. I've been told I'm an autonomous learner because I'm always researching and I'm always finding out what I want to know as much as possible. And I think she inspired that as much as anything. I would say that part of what was so special about living in this community in those days, this was probably, my years here were probably 1958 or 59 to 1961, I believe. Probably late in 61 or early 62. I'm not sure, exactly sure, but I had 3 years at what was then CCC, Chiang Mai Children's Center. And I would say that a big part of it was the sense of community among the missionary families. In its own way, I really think that this reflects a little bit about how the Thai culture operates, in that all of the other missionary families that we knew well, the parents were referred to as aunt and uncle. And there really was a sense of family. And so I think that the kids in the school were almost like cousins, and it was very special that way. But also, the school was very respectful of where we lived. There was no big boundary between the fact that at the time, I believe all the kids were Farangs, with very few exceptions. And now the school is much more integrated with Thai kids and kids from other countries. It truly is an international school, which is great. At this point, it's very diverse. But at the time, too, not to harp on Miss Wood because she was so unique and very special and wonderful teacher, but she herself had a Thai mother and a British father. He was the British consul to Siam, as it was called, when he was actually appointed by Queen Victoria, believe it or not. and so there was really a cross-cultural feeling. I think that the Thai culture was honored and not in any way separated out from our lives. We learned about Thai culture at the same time. There was quite a bit of that. And I think that was very important because, after all, we were living here, and I value that a lot. I think that from what we know about child development now, the early years of a child's life are extremely crucial. I know that, for example, like a lot of people in those days, we had a Thai nursemaid. We had the privilege of having Thai people working in our house where we lived, both here in this building and in the house across the way, which is really just a couple blocks away in walking distance. And these people were respected as people that my parents had great respect for them as people. I remember, this is an interesting kind of intimate thing, but my mother at first was really uncomfortable with having people work for her. And one of the other older missionaries told her, don't feel that way. These people know they're being respected and treated well and respectfully, and they appreciate the work too. So these were people that, in a sense, became part of our family. And I think that we were privileged to be influenced by them in our early years. As I began to be formally educated, I think too, it was a particularly cross-cultural and rich experience, partly just because I had the small classes and I had the personal attention, which is very difficult to do in today's educational system. And I think I was taught how to think and how to learn. This is kind of different. The classical idea of education is rhetoric, which we don't understand that word quite the same way nowadays. But rhetoric is being able to speak clearly and to compellingly, to communicate effectively. And I think I was taught the basis for that. I've developed it a little bit since then, too. I believe that one of the main things is its location. Being in northern Thailand, in Chiang Mai, which really is an ancient city that has often not been part of what is now considered Thailand. And the situation of the school was originally a school for English-speaking children, as I understand it. That's how it was set up. And I think that, I don't know the exact belief now scientifically about when our brains stop developing, but I really think that in your early childhood, up till 5 or 6, there are very specific stages of awareness and things that are getting wired into our brains. And then it becomes quite different when we start to learn language. And I feel very privileged that I was raised to be bilingual. Although I have had to start relearning Thai on the conscious level, I've learned that all the Thai language is in there somewhere. And as I study Thai again, things re-emerge. And I think this is one of the gifts of having been at CCC, is that it really wasn't separate from where the place is. This is still a beautiful place, but it was more of almost a jungle paradise. We were really on the edge of the rice fields and the forest, right here. And now we have traffic moving around us, and you have to go a little further out for that type of enrichment. But I think it's still a very, very special place for that reason, that we're really kind of close to nature and to the peasant culture, which is a culture I really respect in Thailand, because I think Thailand has a very ancient and high civilization. Just for a moment to touch back to the story of Ayutthaya. Ayutthaya was the peak development of a great civilization, in my opinion. I've really come to feel that the Thai are highly civilized people in many ways that are not quite understood in the West. And I believe that being educated here, particularly in this school and in this location, there are values and matters of courtesy and politeness and respect that are innate to this culture. And I'm sure that they are involved in how a child is educated at this school now. This is, I believe, all the way through high school.